Hi, Sigrun. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so delighted to see you.
Natasha, it's a true pleasure to be with you here today.
Well, the reason why I wanted for us to talk today is because you have an incredible program called Momentum that I am uh, such a big fan of because we've been growing the program like together for the past year, and like I'm so delighted to be a part of the team. I'm so happy that I raised my hand to be the person who is helping you in this task, and like, it's been delightful. So I would really love for us to talk about the program, the journey, the growth, the things that we've seen, and things that will help my audience to implement as they are growing their programs too.
Perfect. I love to talk about momentum.
All right, so let's talk about the structure of the program, whether it's evergreen or it runs in cohorts. Like, let's talk about it like right now. What does the program look like and who it is for?
Maybe if I have time, I take you back like originally when I created the program, because I think if someone has not created a group program yet, they may want to go on a little journey, and there will be a lot of changes along the way. So the original version of Momentum was a 1 year mastermind. And people could pay monthly or they could pay a year upfront. And I had 18 people in the program, and I was alone, the only coach, and there was a mastermind call every other week. So I put the 18 people into two groups, and they would all get their specific hot seats every other week. And this worked fine, but I wanted to scale more. And that's what your topic is also like. How do you scale group coaching
Exactly.
programs and keep the quality? And it was very clear to me, if I wanted to keep the quality, I could not run the program alone. So the second version of Momentum became, I realized also it wasn't a mastermind. The people were not at the level that they could mastermind, they needed coaching. So I actually kind of relaunched the program, and I said, this is a group coaching program. This is no longer a mastermind, because actually you need coaching. So let's not fool ourselves and call it a mastermind when it isn't. A mastermind is really when you are at multiple six figures. It makes real sense, but before you're really learning the ropes of online business. And so when I relaunched the program, I got two team members to help me out. One of them was my marketing manager, and one of them was my Facebook ad manager. Because I realized one of the things that is stifling growth for a lot of online business owners is that they don't dive into paid ads, and they shy away from it so long. And I realized from the very beginning, this needs to be a part of the program. And so we started the program, and I also felt people were missing the word mastermind. So I'm like, okay, what can I do about that? So I decided to create little groups of cohorts. So I think the program we had, let's say we started off with 30 people that joined the first round. And then I put them in little groups of 6 people each. So I had like 5 groups. They were completely self-led. The only thing I did was to put the people together. I tried to do that based on revenue level. But also we had to shuffle up the groups if someone left or and didn't renew, or sometimes they came to me and the group was not working. It was a 50-50 success because they were self-led. So I had no control what was happening in these cohorts. And after a while, I closed down the cohorts. Some groups were amazing. They even met in person, and I know they are even masterminding today. And when I see the pictures on Facebook, it really warms my heart and makes me so happy. But there's a dark side. The groups that didn't work, where people didn't show up, they didn't commit to each other, or someone would just give bad advice, and I wasn't there to monitor if they would be according to what I would recommend. So I got a little bit tired of constantly monitoring something that I really couldn't control. So we closed down the groups. Momentum kept on growing, but let's say So this new relaunch of the program was 2018. The original program was 2016. So I've been using the Momentum name for a long time. And then we stopped the groups probably 2020. And we did some other changes. And every time, yes, the biggest change, I told you the very first version was a 12-month mastermind. So you signed up, it started in January, ended in December. When I relaunched the program and I wanted to scale it up and have more members, and I brought in team members, I realized I was also doing it to make sure it would be evergreen. Because the issue is if you only sell once a year, let's say it's not your best launch for some reason, then you're stuck with a whole year with less members than you expected. But if you have evergreen, you have the chance to bring in people at any point. There are also challenges with evergreen, which I will come to, because people think they can join anytime. So they think I'll join next week or next month, and they will never join. So you need to kind of combat the evergreen. There's an evergreen problem and there's a launch problem, but there's a way to solve it by using both, by launching several times a year, the program, and still closing the doors in between so that people don't have the feeling they can join anytime. So that's how you kind of solve it with evergreen programs. But yeah, the evolution of the groups, like what happened with the groups, I stopped the groups. We did one-on-one coaching instead. Well, I don't know if it was instead, but we wanted to constantly see what we can do to improve the program. So we decided to offer a monthly 30-minute one-on-one call. And we had no cohorts, no little groups. And what happened, of course, everybody loves one-on-one, so the members are super excited. After about a year, or maybe even 2 years of doing it, I realized that I no longer knew the people in my group program. They started to not show up for our group coaching calls because they were getting their one-on-one calls, so they would just wait for that. Of course, they would kind of sometimes post in the Facebook group, but I lost connection with my own clients, and that made me actually feel quite sad. I didn't feel this was a group coaching program anymore. That's the whole point of a group coaching program, that you learn from each other, that people share. And I love the thing about the slipstream. If someone takes off and they share it in the group, then everyone else gets inspired and they start to take off too. And this doesn't happen in one-on-one. So, but the thought of taking the one-on-one away, when you have an evergreen program and you make some big changes, and especially when you take something away from people, you get a shitstorm. The only way to prepare for it is just to really know that's going to happen. So it's good to find a time where there are not many people at the renewing point. And you need to give them something instead. You cannot promise something when people join a program and you take it away from them and there's nothing of same value instead. This also reminds us that when we have a sales page for a program, or we have a sales call for a program, that we may not want to be too specific about all the details in the program so that you can take things away. But whatever people get, they get used to it. So it is always tricky to make changes, but you have to. Anyone listening and they are on the verge of like, hey, I have to make a change. Yes, do it. Because it cannot be that I magically knew 2018 how the perfect group coaching program looks like. No, I didn't. I tried out something, and some of the things I did worked out, and some of the things I tried out didn't work out, like the self-led cohorts, masterminds. Then we tried the one-on-ones. The group, it was no longer a group coaching program. And the danger with the one-on-one, I had one specific coach do it, then I added another one, but there was an attachment to that coach. It's no longer a Sigrun program. It's whoever is coaching you one-on-one. And if you do that for a whole year, and if that person leaves for some reason,
right,
that happened. And then I had to hop on calls to talk to clients who were not happy that so-and-so left. And I'm like, yeah, but she was just a coach in the program. Yeah, but she was my coach. So there is a certain risk and danger you have to kind of think ahead when you have it too tied to people. It should be more about the structure of the program than the actual people performing the coaching calls. Like, let's say I have a call every Monday morning. I should be able to exchange who is doing the call. Yes, you will miss the person. Of course, we are human beings and we like some people more than others. But the structure of the program should be the foundation of your program and not actually who is executing it. Yeah, I have so much more to share about it, but maybe you want to chime in and ask a question.
No, this is fascinating, and I'm very happy that you're sharing the journey itself, because it highlights the fact that it is very much like trying something, like coming in with an assumption that this will work, but not keeping very like, not being attached to it to the point where like, we cannot change things when it's not working. So like what I love in your story is that there was always this feedback loop that like you were testing things and like looking like are these things working? Great, like okay, like something that works, we are keeping something that doesn't work. We are like trying something else and trying new things, even though there might be some negative feedback from people when they are they get used to a specific format. But yes, like we are like always trying to make sure that the format actually like helps our clients succeed. So it's so important. This is like what I wanted to highlight. Yeah, if you could like tell us like in where we are like
Where we are
now.
today. Yeah,
Yes, and like
I want to
how.
come to that point. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
please go ahead.
I think it's important because you know, we have now a program that's been running so long. If you take the old program, we're talking about 8 years. If we just look at the new program, we're talking about you know, 6 7 year period of the program running a certain way. And I think you shouldn't making too many changes. And I think it's good that if I look back, it seems like we made bigger changes every 2 years. And that's okay. That doesn't shake. It's a little shake when it happens, but you're not constantly changing. You don't want that because that doesn't build trust. Trust is built also when things repeat themselves. So in 2023, I was finally able to do a live event again after COVID. 3 years we didn't do a live event. And I decided to invite everyone who had been a client in 2020, 21, 22, 23 to come, and they a free ticket to our live event because we hadn't had a chance. I never promised this to the people in the past that there would be a live event. I took it away when COVID happened, but it felt like a nice gift back to the community. Like, you were my client and there was no live event when you did this program. Now you can come back. And there were a lot of momentums that came to the event. But you know who they were? The people who had been in a small mastermind were more likely to come. They came as a group. You know, they probably talked to each other and said, "Are you going?" And those who had one-on-one coaching calls and were not a part of a small cohort, what is the reason for them to come? Because they didn't associate themselves with a group. And I was at the live event. I'm talking literally at the live event. I had an offer printed out because, you know, I had to print out things at home before we go to the hotel and host this event. And I changed my mind when I saw who was in the room to bring back the mini masterminds. But this time with a facilitator. And this is such a good lesson in you do something, it doesn't work exactly as you hoped for, but there were some positive signs, but there were too many, it was 50-50. Then it goes away, and I tried the one-on-one. Definitely not a good idea for a group coaching program. So let that go. But there was something about the mini mastermind that was good. Let's bring them back, but let's do them better. And so this time, again, even more strict on the revenue levels so that people who are at 50K are together, people at 300K are together. We have a much wider range in momentum than we used to have in the past. We have people that all the way from beginners to 400,000 in euro in revenue per year. And that's even more important in such a group program, to have those little cohorts, which we call mini masterminds, and now with a facilitator. So there's no one there that's going to give the wrong advice, because the facilitator is a former Momentum client and has been in all the programs and knows all the methods. And that's always our goal, to hire people, if we can, that have gone through our programs, or they need to be trained up. So the mini masterminds, yeah, they came back. But yeah, that's how it is today. When people join the program, we do have an onboarding call, and they fill out a very extensive intake form where we establish where they're at. It's not enough just to look at revenue level. We want to know if they have launched. Do they have scalable programs? Do they have the foundation to actually scale up their online business? If they don't have that foundation, then the revenue level is kind of secondary, because someone could be actually making 500,000 euro in revenue. Maybe they have some big consulting projects or big one-on-one clients. That still puts them in a little bit different stage. So maybe they should actually be with people who are more at the six-figure mark, because they still need to learn how to create a scalable program and launch. So we try to look into these ways, and it's a personal process to put them in a group. It's no automation. We would love to automate as much as we can, but there are things where you really have to kind of bring in the human touch and say, okay, you fit into this group. And so then we have milestones. And this has been a big thing for us to nail them down. It was always clear to me that people need a scalable program and they need to launch, but for a long time, it was not so clear what are the milestones that we're actually wanting people to achieve. And now we have made that very clear. And this, is then the milestones that they're going after. And now we're bringing in awards at our next live event, where we start to highlight these milestones more. So reward the people for achieving the milestones. And I think that's good lesson for the group community, that, oh, this person has achieved this milestone. Oh, we started at the same time. I can do it too. So that's the feeling of a group program, the slipstream, not to go into one-on-one and hide what you're working on, like bring it in and share with each other and learn from each other. We have expert coaching calls. I'm still a huge fan of people doing paid ads. There's no other way to scale, really. Yes, organic is great, but it's limited. And so we have experts in messaging, business strategy, Facebook ads, and we do have a kickoff call Monday morning, which I mentioned briefly before, which is not specific to an expertise, but it's a general call to get things done. Like, what are you going to do this week? Plan it out and actually go and chop up the elephant and start to eat it, and have a goal. And I think for many people who have never worked for themselves before, it's a way of learning how to discipline yourself, that I am my own boss. No one is going to tell me what to do. So we're kind of taking that over a little bit. I look at Momentum compared to other programs. It's like high school preparing you for university. Like, before you're on your own and you need to decide if you're going to do your assignments or your homework, let us help you to establish a practice of where you decide Monday morning what you can do for the rest of the week. That's the smaller milestones. I think people should have a bigger milestones that may take a couple of weeks or even months to achieve. And then they need the small chunks, because I need to see, okay, if I finish this by Friday, I have a good feeling about myself. I've actually achieved something. Yeah, so that's the main structure. The expert calls, the mini masterminds, a very good onboarding call. And then we have sprints. Yeah, let's call them sprints. We have been running programs in the past that are 10 to 12 weeks, and they achieve a certain milestones, or actually multiple milestones. One program will help you create your online course and build your email list. Another one will help you build a sales funnel. Another one will help you launch. And these sprints or programs are accessible at any point within the program. So people can dive in and do it. It's kind of on their own time. But because these programs are set up as 10 weeks and 12 weeks, the best way for them to do them is to do it exactly like that, because then we kind of keep them on track. And then we have some special strategies that don't fit into these 3 special sprints. You know, how do you create a messaging for your ideal client? How do you create a sales page? You know, there are all these little things. I cannot list all of these things. But basically, people dip their toes in when they need it. But the key still in momentum has been for me not to create too much content. I believe execution trumps it all. And sometimes there is just really, you can say something on a strategy call and people just can go ahead and do it. It doesn't need another course or a master class or something like that. So really, it's all about taking action and achieving those milestones. And we have seen people go from 0 to 6 figures in 12 months, or even much faster, 4 to 6 months. That's been, I think, one person did it in 4 months. That's definitely an anomaly, but that was fun. And then in the second year, 250. That's also very clear. Like, what's possible? Be realistic. You're not going to make 500,000 if you're at 0 today. If someone actually applies for the program and they say, and I ask them, where would you like to be in 12 months from now? And they say, oh, I would like to make $1 million. Then, well, I don't think they're a good candidate because that's not realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Yes, it's such a great example. Like you going like through this individual like elements of the program, like showed like really such a thoughtful blend of things that help business owners, especially the beginners, to start like managing things themselves and start understanding what they need to be focusing on and like mapping out what they need to be working on. And at the same time, there's like so much expertise that is available to them to go and like, follow the strategies that are suggested to them and implement to make the progress. So in terms of momentum is now 8 years old. Through this journey, what was like 1 or 2 lessons that you've learned about like scaling a group program, like high touch group program?
I think we focus often so much on the program itself, but you also need to think about having a good sales mechanism, marketing and selling, plus, of course, retention. And it's important that people don't get the feeling that they can do it in 6 months or 12 months. Then I have a fabulous business and it's all done. So in the messaging and the communication, highlight success stories of clients, because most of our successful clients have been 2 years in momentum. So it's important to kind of mention that somewhere, so the expectation isn't like, hey, if I buy this one program, my life is going to change forever and all is going to be good. No, it's like a university thing. Like, it's probably going to take 2-3 years until you get to the place where actually it is life-changing. So I think that messaging I think that comes with being more grown up in this world somehow. I don't know, you know, more of abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. Like, let's not attract people for the quick wins. Let's attract people that are in for the long haul. And, you know, we've tried it all. I offered a 6-month option for a whole year. It was very easy to sell. And these people didn't necessarily renew because it was too easy for them to join. So I think that was a good lesson, but I'm not afraid to change. You know, we are entrepreneurs. if you make an offer for a certain length or a certain price, you can change your mind. It's good to use it in marketing though, and say this is the last chance you can join at this price or for this length of time. But yeah, I'm glad we went back to that. This is a 12-month program. I wouldn't say there was a mistake. It was something we tried, and then we figured out it was hurting the program, and it was not in the best interest of those clients that we actually want to serve. The terms of the retention, I think you have to speak to people when they have achieved something amazing in the program. Don't wait to the last week that they have their renewal coming up. Have that conversation early. Typically, if I look at also my mastermind, people are starting to think in June or July whether they're going to renew for next year. So definitely September, October, they're already kind of decided. So when you come with your offer in November, December, you are too late. So the same with the group coaching program. People start to think much earlier than you think they are thinking about it. So dropping the seed of like, hey, maybe it's time to think about renewing for next year. Now, if people are on a payment plan, obviously they're not going to pay double, but they can still take that decision early enough that they're going to renew because things are going well. So then they take that decision internally. And so that's really important. If you want a long-lasting group program that scales, you need to, of course, have the structure in place that we've mentioned, but also think about how do you keep the clients longer than just whatever you're offering, 6 or 12 months, because that's what the group coaching program is really about. Is it's long-term clients that stay with you for years. There's so much to learn. It's nothing they can do in just 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you also mentioned, when they are working together and when they are learning from each other, they create bonds that allow them to go inside the same program for years and years, like the same way that like you have in your like high level mastermind as well. Yeah,
Yeah, we
absolutely.
have some clients that have been with us for 6 years. And some clients have been 2 years in Momentum and then maybe 4 years in my Red Circle Mastermind. And this is absolutely normal. I'm in a mastermind myself. I unfortunately just joined that mastermind 2 years ago, but there are people in the mastermind since 2011. Yeah. And I think we can all offer programs like that.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you for these tips to like for our audience as well to see like what would fit like, for their group program to try on. And like something that I so admire and love about you is like how attentive you are to your audience. Like you gave a very good example earlier about like seeing people in the audience of the last event and understanding that okay, like mini masterminds needs to come back just because these people stay together and they come back because of the experience of like growing together they had. Like you do the same during launches. Like you're very agile when it comes to like listening and like seeing the client and giving them what they want. So that's also something that I want our audience to take away from this interview, because like it's so important to know your client, but have this as this ongoing like exercise for yourself to listen and like see what is going on to continue serving them like in that way, because it doesn't have to be very the big change when like it can be a small tweak, but it will be everything that your clients need. So
Yeah,
thank you.
exactly.
What is next for Momentum, Sigrun? Like what's happening? What are your plans for the next few months for the program?
Well, we have just, as I talked about the milestones, we're going to lean more into the milestones. I think we've defined them, we have communicated them, not too much. We can do a better job and leaning into the milestones so that people know where they stand. I think it's very good for each person. That's why we do fill out these surveys and quizzes online. We all like to know more about ourselves. And so if you're in a program and you can clearly see that I am stage 2 or whatever, and there are still 7 stages ahead of me, it makes me want to maybe work a little bit harder, maybe, or a little bit smarter, so that I can get to that stage, maybe faster than I would have done without the clarity of where I stand. And I think this will be a huge, we will not see like an instant improvement. It will probably, again, take 6 to 12 months to see that change happen. But I am pretty convinced that this will help our clients make faster progress, and it will make everyone feel better, because then the conversation about how long something takes or what they should be doing next is already eliminated.
Yeah, absolutely. Making it visible for them, like just how much they've grown. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. How can someone find out about Momentum? Is there a way to join it like at some point?
Yes, we, of course, I have a website, sigrun.com, and
We will share the
on
link. Yeah.
there you will find the program. The program has been renamed to Momentum 360, by the way, because we felt that the program is more than just a momentum. Plus, there are lots of other programs out there called Momentum, and Momentum 360 is not trademarked. So we kind of own that method, we own that program. So, yeah, you can find that on our website. And then you can sign up for a newsletter and find out the next opportunity to join. Because, as I said, when you have an evergreen program, it is not the best way to allow people to join every single day, because then they will never join. Therefore, we do have windows of opportunity to join the program.
Terrific. Thank you so much. We'll share the link to the website and the program page below this video. And yes, join the newsletter to find out when Momentum launches next, opens up next, to see if this is the right place for you as well. So thank you so much, Sigrun. It's been amazing. Like as always, like I learned so much from you. I really, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Okay. I'm jumping to the next call, but this was
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.